Hello, welcome to Framework. I am Al Schwartz. With me, as always, is John Bernard. John, how's it going, man?
It's great. Singing us, oh Muse. We're talking about the Odyssey today. We're talking about Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, man. And just laid out there right at the beginning, I thought this was fucking great. And this has been a really good July at the movie theater for me.
It's a masterpiece, man.
Yeah, actually, there's a couple things I wanted to maybe mention to you before we get to the Odyssey then.
Sure.
One, in the last week or two, I did get to see Backrooms and Obsession, and I really loved both of those, and I'm now really pissed off that like one of the three episodes I've missed in the 5 years I've been doing this show was you guys talking about those two movies before I got to see them.
Yeah. Well, we talked about like other stuff too. You know, we talked about like Primate. He didn't miss him much. There's room to discuss Obsession and Backrooms further, I would say.
There is. But it's quite a nice turnaround because I felt, that some of our more recent stuff, say Disclosure Day, or we did House of the Dragon recently, or I feel like I'm kind of in a very negative mode and, harping on what I view as missteps. And, with Nolan, I don't love all of his movies. So I wasn't really sure about this one, but I like being in the mode of, oh man, I've now seen 3 movies in a row that were really great in the theater, and this is one of them.
Well, this is what a summer needs, man. It needs a movie of this size and this tone and this kind of just massive enormity to it, and that is successful. That is a lot of fun and is really good and is in a way sort of a landmark piece of filmmaking. This is the sort of thing that you love going to see in the movie theater in the summer, despite being kind of serious. I kind of associate the summer with seeing Marvel films and things like that as often as not. You get a lot of Masters of the Universe, things like that, and maybe some of those are pretty good occasionally, but there's nothing quite like having one really big, ambitious, serious film in the mix. And Nolan's been pretty good at delivering those. He's one of the few people who can at this point. But this is kind of the ultimate version of that. The ultimate Nolan summer film here.
Yeah, it is really, it feels like only he could do this. Both in the sense that there's nobody else I really trust to take an ancient epic poem as the franchise IP that you're working your summer movie off of and translate it with this level of fidelity to the events of that story, and like succeed in taking it entirely seriously and also connecting with a summer blockbuster audience. And also the great like thematic twist of this movie,
so good,
that I think is the sort of masterstroke, is also something that feels like it feels right coming from him. Maybe there's somebody else that could pull off something similar to that, but man, as a piece of the Nolan-Oscopy, this slots in very comfortably.
Oh yeah, to say the least. I mean, it's crazy that it's an immediate follow-up to Oppenheimer. It feels like that he just wasn't quite over the themes of Oppenheimer. Like, it's like, this is still haunting me. This is still what I'm thinking about. This is bigger than the one guy's story. This is everything. This is what it's like to be in America, or to be in the world in the 21st century. This is the feeling of all of it. And it's an incredibly modern film in that sense. And yes, I am also surprised how closely this follows the text. Like pretty much all of it is there, Everything has a bit of a curly Q or an adaptation choice to it, but
I don't know. But like the Suitor stuff is so much more directly translated than I would have expected a 21st century adaptation to be.
Well, he has that incredible hook to put it on,
Yes,
of Zeus's hospitality. It is so cool that he figured that part of it out, because it allows him to actually do something with what I've always thought is one of the weirder, kind of most old-fashioned and bizarre parts of the Odyssey, which is, we're just going to murder all these guys, huh? Okay.
And finding a way, between like the sort of, I guess, the highbrow and the lowbrow aspects of adaptation here, that thematic stuff that ties it together also manages to work as a plot. He works in a plot justification for why Odysseus has to do this incredibly overcomplicated method of coming home and doing a big dramatic reveal and
so good.
And all that. Like, I mean, one, that's part of what ties Odysseus into being a Nolan protagonist, because they take the most complicated route through everything. But I mean, theatricality and deception can be powerful weapons against the R-Pats of the world, as we've learned from his Batman movies. But okay, wait. There's no way to, I guess, for us to not sort of talk about the ending of this movie all the way through.
It's Nolan. It's fine.
It ties the room together. Yeah, there you go. It's non-linear time. That's all the point. And man, like, after spending all of our Disclosure Day episode griping about that screenplay, like, this is such a counterpoint. What a magnificently structured script this is.
Yes.
Like, the way that Agamemnon's shade, when they visit Hades, provides not just the thematic pronouncements, but the plot motivation for Odysseus to do the elaborate disguise when he comes home is just like, chef's kiss adaptation. You solved two sort of like very different problems with one scene that is also fucking awesome, and
I know, it's crazy.
Does more to justify the sort of Darth Vader presentation of Agamemnon, which, you know, justify itself just by being an image that looked cool. But it just to be more and more like, I think the craft of screenwriting is all about how many different things can you do in one scene or in one line. And this is such a great, teach screenwriting classes based off of this script, I think.
It's really a remarkable piece. It's also quite schematic in just it's going from it's the Odyssey structure, which is incredibly episodic. It's adventures and set pieces and stuff like that. So that's a benefit in a way going in, but it makes it a little harder to have these scenes really be something when they're not connected to one another directly. Like the Circe and the Cyclops and Scylla and Charybdis. These things don't inherently comment on each other. That's
the thing. The Odyssey is not set up to be a good movie.
No, it's not.
Like, theater didn't even quite exist yet, I think, when this was going on. And it's also not, we apply the name Homer to things, but this is not a novel written by one author. It's a collection. It's a compendium of fan fiction stories that probably,
kind of like the Bible
people wrote over a couple hundred years. And so, it's not thematically tight. It's not narratively tight. The plot does not, is very episodic. It does not move from one thing to another. But man, if you're Christopher Nolan, you spent 20 or 30 years sculpting the muscles to do the kind of elliptical storytelling he does. You can cut between these different things and he knows how to keep momentum through editing, through images, through music, and just maintaining tonality in a way that nobody else can really touch at this point.
I also say that, despite, all these sort of impressive feats that it's achieving just structurally as an art piece, this is also, you got to at least go back to The Dark Knight to have a movie that is just as purely entertaining and fun and exciting and just sort of chock full of memorable meme moments and set pieces and sequences and kind of all-timer great pieces of cinema, of movie star, summer movie, blockbuster cinema exists in this. The Cyclops scene in this is, I think that goes next to something like the T-Rex attack in Jurassic Park. It is incredible. It's the sort of thing you're going to see duplicated and joked about and parodied for the next 30 years, maybe. It's remarkable. This is a home run, man. A grand slam home run on the biggest scale imaginable.
Yeah, I mean, I might quibble with use of the word fun, because I think that sort of means something different in a Christopher Nolan context than it does to other summer blockbusters. What's amazing about Nolan is that he markets his movies as summer blockbusters when they are not really that, like in their souls, you know, that they are art. These are not franchise pictures, or the franchise is him. It's just his brand.
Yeah.
And that he can turn something like Oppenheimer or the Odyssey. I mean, Oppenheimer is more impressive in some ways as material to make into
a sort of
$800
blockbuster.
million blockbuster. Yeah. But like I said, to do the Odyssey in a way that is not, there was a sort of Pirates of the Caribbean or, Marvelization version of this you could have done. If Chris Pratt was Odysseus,
Sure.
you could have done this as a sort of, goofy adventure comedy. And then The Rock could play the Cyclops or whatever. And it's like, whatever. I wasn't, as of last week, I was not a purist about the Odyssey. I don't give a shit.
Right.
I'm so impressed how he's able to be, like I said, so faithful to the incidents of the text. I put it all up there on screen in a way, in a package that fits a summer blockbuster, and also like finding a thematic perspective that makes it feel very much of and about our present moment. And doing all of that simultaneously is where I can no longer claim to be a Nolan skeptic. Like, just fucking bravo.
Yeah, man, we talked about Disclosure Day, a month ago, something like that, and this is what I was hoping Spielberg was going to deliver. This is the level. I mean, of the head-to-head this summer, Nolan won decisively, I would say. This is the sort of thing Spielberg used to be able to. It's something like Private Ryan functions in this way. It is sort of more than itself, in a sense, despite being kind of thrilling. It's not what you'd call regular blockbuster stuff. And that's the kind of movie we're dealing with here, like a generational one.
And it's amazing that it. I mean, I guess it hits so much harder with the Odyssey. One, because Nolan, despite laying out the blueprint for us 20 years ago in The Prestige, is still the master of kind of third act twists and nails it here. And so that thematic thread that ties it all together at the end get to surprise us, both in how it's deployed and like the runtime of the movie, and also just the material of the Odyssey does not seem to call out for that. That you wouldn't, no. We did not go into the theater pegging, the Odyssey is going to be an important cinematic document of the Trump era. And that's such a contrast to like Disclosure Day, which its material kind of demands it to be more about the present moment, and it is less about that than it needed to be. And the Odyssey is more about that than it needed to be. And man, what a study in contrast that becomes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I didn't even need that from this, No. I would have been fine with, a Nolan version of the Armand de Sante miniseries, like I would have probably had a lot of fun with that too. And, you put that Cyclops scene in there, I'm still going to be real happy. There's plenty of stuff like that in here.
Yeah, I mean, when the Lagostronian giant armored guy just hucks one of the Greek soldiers through a tree trunk, like,
I'm already happy. I've won here. This is already working.
My thumbs up review was already cemented. Like, he didn't need to do anything else after that. But there's a lot more to it, and the stuff that comes at the end makes the stuff before better, which is what a really good twist does.
You wouldn't think they could do a twist in this as well.
Right. It's the most it's the most well-known story in Western civilization. I mean, give or take the Bible. But the plot is very familiar. But what I love about that final twist of, why Odysseus has been sort of unable to come home the whole time, and what the Trojan War meant and all. It reminds me of the Jaime Lannister's hot tub confessions. A
little. I see that. Uh-huh.
It's actually the exact inverse in a way, where Jaime Lannister is revealing that sort of the thing he is most reviled for is actually his most heroic and selfless moment of his life. And Odysseus's reveal is that the thing he is most revered for is the thing that makes him feel like an irredeemable piece of shit who broke the world. And but they're both like amazing sort of twists that are not quite plot twists, but they're character twists. They're thematic twists, which is such an amazing thing to pull off that's so rare. I feel like maybe Insomnia was trying to play something like that too, kind of like late revealing exactly what Al Pacino's sins are in there.
Well, we see him kill a guy in the first act, his partner. But yes, we're not viewing the sack of Troy as an irredeemable sin up to that point, even though it's obvious Damon is haunted and destroyed by something. Like there is something up with him, very obviously through the whole film, that is getting at him. And the use of Zendaya as Athena in this is particularly inspired and brilliant in the way that is presented in that final sack flashback, which I could barely breathe during. By the way, I would not have guessed that the thrilling end of this film would be just showing the sack of Troy. Like at the end, after you've seen, armies of monsters and shit and hell and et cetera. No, I'm just like, I couldn't believe what was going on in that final scene. And then when Zendaya shows up as the priestess of Athena getting executed, I was just like, oh my God, I haven't felt like this in a movie in so long. It was so great. What a brilliant piece of filmmaking.
That was something that I did get ahead of a little bit, like where the Zendaya twist was going in a couple scenes before, and that's usually something I'm sensitive to and do not like. But in this case, I was like clapping my hands giddily, like, like that's a good one. Go for it. Do it, man. It's also just like, I mean, God, but we got to talk about Zeus's law quite a bit here, as they do in the film, but I love that's the way that's threaded into the movie, as you have to treat everyone well because you have to be on the lookout for gods disguised as men. And then that Zendaya twist turns it on its head because she turns out to be a sort of a woman disguised as a god. But that is still the crux of all of Odysseus' feelings about Zeus's law and how he has defiled it.
I love the ambiguity of that, though. I think that's so incredible. Is she Athena in disguise? Has Athena never been present with him, and he is haunted by the vision of this woman he saw killed? I'm not sure. It's great. The statues of Athena look like Zendaya. Or is that just a coincidence, or is that just why he glommed onto her?
It could all be projection from his mind.
It can be. Yeah.
Sort of brilliant thing. The
gods are there, but not necessarily there. It's a lot neater tight to walk than I think I've ever seen in something presenting, a pantheon of gods, as it were.
It is. So it's amazing when you heard Christopher Nolan doing the Odyssey, you kind of, obviously. Everybody's first thought is, he's going to do like the Batman Begins thing. He's going to demystify everything.
Right.
There's going to be no gods. The Cyclops will probably just be like Sloth from Goonies or something, that it'll all be earthbound. And the way that this threads the needle on that. That would have been the wrong way to do it because they already did Troy. Nolan was attached to it.
It sucked.
Probably would have made a pretty good version of it. But we don't need another version of this with all of the magic stripped out of it. But it's an amazing sort of weird middle road he walks there, where all of the magic and the monsters are included, but the gods themselves are not necessarily. They're aloof at the very least. They're not on stage. The Zendaya thing you can interpret that as all, psychological projections on his part, or she could be the literal actual manifestation of an actual Greek god. And the way he gets to have it, let us have our cake or eat it as we prefer. There is really well done.
Yeah. I think that the ambiguity is gorgeous, but I do appreciate that ultimately I think you got to be like, well, there's probably literal gods going on here. There's too many monsters and magic and shit like that to just be like, oh no, none of that's real. Or at least there's the door is open that they really have pissed off Poseidon, and Zeus's law is that by defying that, we are defying the gods and thus punished. Or maybe it's just innate in what we've done here. Maybe it is the natural outcome of our lack of faith, our monstrousness as a species. It's so fucking good, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's definitely the Hades stuff I take as literal in the story that he
exactly. They have to do that stuff. Yeah. So yeah, I think there's gods in this. You don't have like a cast of really impressive British actors sitting around a table being like, I am Zeus and I am Apollo and oh Hera, you listen to me now. Like a Clash of the Titans type thing. But I don't think anyone expected that from Nolan anyway.
No, but I think in Nolan's Odyssey, I do have this vague sense that yes, there are Greek gods within this world, but not necessarily that they actually take human form or swan form or whatever the case may be and walk among us and communicate directly. I mean, that's what the Athena scenes are all about is, just why can't you just talk to me like a person so I know what you want? And, I mean, the lines about, who doesn't understand thunder is, and who doesn't understand fire is great. But
great lines throughout this, by the way. There's some really terrific dialogue in this, which not necessarily a thing I associate with Nolan all the time. Obviously, it happens. The Dark Knight is one of the most quotable films ever, but he doesn't always play in that register, and this one's got a lot.
And the way it handles the supernatural actually reminds me quite a bit of Excalibur.
Yes,
which I feel like has a sort of similar approach to all the magic is included, but we are also kind of like making things a bit dirtier than the fairy tale version of it would be, and
it's terrestrial.
The people are a little, more have some feet of clay or some actual moral stains upon them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Shall we? I don't know. Should we kind of start at the beginning here and just sort of work our way through? I guess it's so episodic. I'd like to talk about every scene in this film. Essentially, it's all good stuff. Basically, I don't know. I think that these themes are going to keep coming up as we discuss it.
Yeah, do you have a plot outline? I saw it the once, and I don't have the order of operations that locked into my head.
I think I can get it. I think I can basically get it. I mean, we open with surprisingly not like a big sequence, not a big set piece that does not open this film. It is basically we're starting kind of further along in the plot than I expected, with the suitors and Telemachus as an adult and Penelope, and the ending of the story is getting underway as we begin, and immediately I'm just like, oh yeah, Nolan, nonlinear shit, yeah, of course. It seems like it's the only way to do this.
Inception kind of starts this way, so it feels like.
But I love all this stuff here in Ithaca. I think that everyone is on fire. I think all these scenes are wonderful. I love the amount of sniveling villains that we've managed to fit into this. I think the only way to approach these characters, it's perfect with the central metaphor in place and idea about Zeus's law. It's already getting established with the asshole suitors here, especially Robert Pattinson. My God, what a performance!
Yeah.
I mean, he's. I think my favorite performance in this is Matt Damon, but Pattinson is like he's breathing down his throat.
This is another way that the Odyssey is not well structured to a Hollywood film, is that the villains and the hero don't interact in any way until he murders them at the end. And there's no real sense ever that like Robert Pattinson is going to be a real threat to Matt Damon. Even as I guess the movie did convince me that it was going to kill Odysseus off at the end for a bit.
I mean, yeah, me too.
So another fucking kudos to Nolan for getting me there. I do love all that stuff. I will say this, okay, about my lone like detraction from this movie. I think the only misstep I can really identify is the contemporary dialogue stuff does not work for me. Like,
I get the thinking, but I mean, it does hit the ear a little odd time to time.
Yeah, it's supposed to make the ancient source material feel more approachable for a modern audience, but as a modern audience, I am so trained to hear sort of elevated Shakespearean dialect out of ancient epics that it's more distracting hearing Tom Holland say dad instead of father, or Anne Hathaway saying partying instead of revels or something. You know, like that does not pull me in. That actually pulls me out more than, especially particularly coming out of a Christopher Nolan movie where, like, even in his most fun, most contemporary, least serious ones, like, people still talk with like more formality in Tenet or The Dark Knight Rises than they do in, my day-to-day life.
They absolutely do. There's a heightened quality to everything, and that's partly superhero, but it's more highfalutin in the Batman trilogy than in others for certain.
Nobody ever calls Thomas Wayne Bruce's dad. They always call him his father.
I get that. There is I don't know. I think it's fine that everyone's speaking sort of like flat American. Even the British actors, that is a version of this working, I think. And
I think so, yeah.
I mean, just this massive cast of movie stars, in supporting roles and stuff like that. That harkens back to an older kind of film too, sort of a Ten Commandments, the old school Hollywood epic. And I think that's a lot of fun, to keep seeing people show up. I was like, oh, Samantha Morton, like that keeps going through the whole film, and you have, this gives you the opportunity to cast like legitimate, like huge talents, Pattinson or Mia Goth as just like, as evil little villains, and that's super fun to see them get to do shit like that.
No, I had avoided like all of the pre-release stuff I could with this. I don't think I'd even seen a full trailer. So as this cast just kept uncurling and unfurling and unfurling, I was like, are you kidding me? Is that John Leguizamo playing a Greek shepherd? Like, what?
Wasn't he good? Wasn't he really good in this?
He was so good. I can't believe that worked. That should have claimed the way that, Harvey Keitel's accent does in Last Temptation of Christ, which is kind of going for a similar thing.
Yeah.
But makes a little more sense there to me than it does. Because I think there's also I've picked up, for as much as I avoid all the pre-release stuff, on a lot of the, Sturm and Drang bullshit about the different casting and the historical fidelity that, Elon Musk and all of his
good stuff
are mad about. And I'm like, I mean, it's so stupid to me, to be like, even the fucking experts don't know that much about what, like, anything actually looked or sounded like 3,000 years ago in ancient Greece. And two, we do know that there were not Cyclops and sirens and trips to Hades going on. So what are we talking about? This is not an actual historical document. It is the world's oldest piece of fan fiction. And
what an entertainment. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then on top of that, you're talking about the casting of different races or whatever. It's like, I think, there's two ways of looking at that. It's like, one, casting more diverse people is like the modern dialect, where it's supposed to make things look and feel more like the multicultural society we're used to. But also, I think I don't even think we have that right necessarily, because I don't think that the ancient Mediterranean was a super white place, actually.
Not really. No. It is half of it is bordering Africa, for God's sake. It's one of the most diverse parts of the world, maybe.
A third of it's bordering Africa, and a third of it's bordering the Middle East.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And even Greece is like the Middle East. I think, like, if you're trying to go for some sort of racial historical accuracy, it's like you should be casting, everybody should look more like Jason Mantzoukas than Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we've got such a history of doing, of doing just sort of all sorts of white people as mixed race or going back to Ten Commandments and before that, or as recently as Gods of Egypt with all the white Egyptians and shit like that. Like this is just what movies are, and all of a sudden they do one where there's a Black Helen of Troy and people lose their fucking mind. This is people who don't give a shit about art but care about culture.
Absolutely.
And that sucks. But it's also really nice.
That's a weird one where, like, okay, having one guy on Odysseus's crew be like Korean, okay, maybe that is, I could see as a bit of a stretch.
It's to the entire point of what they've been doing, though. You know, like that you have this melting pot of characters. You know, that's the whole.
And Helen of Troy being African seems like it actually fits pretty well there. And as I said, like, if we're trying to do a historically accurate Odysseus, he probably looks closer to Hamish Patel than he does to Matt Damon.
Yes.
But those are both great actors that I'm glad are in this movie because I really enjoyed both of them in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very much so. So, all that, I don't know. The nice thing is that the Odyssey is so good and so successful that that shit, I think, just falls away. In a month or two, that's a forgotten relic of the before release time for the Odyssey, and it will have very little to do with the film's actual legacy. Fortunately,
the one thing that seems the hardest to fit into any of this stuff outside of just we're trying to do a fully updated version of this is putting Elliot Page in there, because they had people of different shades and all that stuff back in ancient Greece. But they didn't necessarily have beta blockers or gender reassignment surgeries or whatever the thing is, whatever they're using today. And man, that's a good performance and feels kind of like perfect casting.
It's really smart casting. It's really good. It's the and it's so opposite the bullshit about the Keeleys that they thought it was going to be, and they're still mad. Is the funny part?
It's so revealing. It's so the opposite of what you were complaining about, but you're not any less upset about it.
Yeah. No, the point is that it is an undersized kid. That the whole point is that he's drafted and hasn't really got a choice or an opportunity because he's poor and small and doesn't belong in the war, and rises above that and gets fucked over as well. But like it's remarkable stuff. I read some very interesting things about that character historically, who doesn't appear in the Odyssey. It is from the Aeneid and also appears in Dante's Inferno as a deceiver in hell. Yeah. Because a famous liar, Sinan, which is kind of a loaded thing to cast a trans actor in. But he does such a good job of
even sidesteps that,
validating that character. Yeah. It's really, really good stuff. And I think maybe the use of Elliot Page in that role is a little more intentional than initially seems. Like, it's not just that, he can play a small guy really well. Yeah. It's and it's a great performance too. Makes the movie so good. And yeah, that scene in hell or Hades is so effective. Well, with him and Benny Safdie and James Remar. That's a good one. We'll get to that.
That's such a good one. So, I mean, the thing I guess I would say about the vernacular English and the idea of we're trying to bring this to a modern audience, that also it doesn't fit super precisely with the sort of sumptuousness of the period setting and the level of detail that goes into the costuming and the sets and all that this stuff. It's hard to do both those things at the same time for me, is being like, this is a retelling for modern audiences, but also we're gonna go to such lengths to recreate, use authentic leather or whatever, and to the point where I guess he like didn't want the score to have strings on it because string instruments had not really been invented yet. And I'm like, that doesn't really matter, man. Just let us have some movie stuff.
Well, one thing this does have is a nice cohesive aesthetic. He never goes into the temptation to I shouldn't say never, but he almost never goes into the CGI realm here with his design choices. just because
so much less than the temptation would be. I mean,
yeah, you could make Ithaca look so, blown out and glamorous, and no, it is mostly represented by subterranean caves lit by torchlight, and you don't necessarily have the best sense of geography other than the room is cavernous and dark, and that's a lot of rooms in this. There's a lot of subterranean cavernous rooms lit by torchlight in Odyssey,
and it does seem like he holds himself to. We wanted to find actual ancient Greek ruins and maybe dress up something, but we can't make the palace any bigger than the biggest Greek ruin we could find, because that would be dishonest somehow in Nolan's mind.
It's very interesting to me the way that authenticity is selectively applied here,
right?
Because it's not something I was asking for from this. I mean, it is entirely like a weird Nolan peccadillo. Right. It's like when we're going to be authentic and when we're not. It should clang a little in my ear, I think, and I guess it does with the dialogue. But that's
the only part of it that clangs, because otherwise I wouldn't. Like I said, I don't pretend to know how to ask for authenticity from this.
Yeah, well,
but it wouldn't have even occurred to me actually without Twitter nonsense to be like, Helena Troy has to be white. What? Why?
Yeah, well, that's just silly shit. Honestly, that's baby talk. I can't believe Elon Musk went so all in on it. I don't want to talk about him. He's but
I want to talk 1 second about his wonderful threat to have Grok produce a historically accurate version of this. That is the funniest fucking thing I've ever heard. I'm like, my God, by all means, sir, go right ahead. Could you say?
That might end the AI bubble, honestly. That could actually...
It would yes, I think it would destroy the AI bubble. There's to demonstrate, set up exactly a John Henry situation when you put up 2 hours of grok slop against, this towering achievement from one of the greatest filmmakers that's ever lived. And it would, the contrast will be so brutal to generative AI that it would, I think it would, the AI bubble would burst immediately.
It would show everyone its limitations so cleanly. Yeah. I don't know why you would do that.
Which is why no, it won't happen.
Yeah, of course not.
Eventually he'll realize, oh yes, of course I'm going to look like a fucking idiot. It's I don't know. You're going to challenge fucking Steph Curry to a 3-point contest. What? If you built a halfway good shooting robot, it's not going to fucking, anyway.
Yeah.
Where are we now? Are we in the second scene of this movie?
Yeah, I believe so. There's the other aspect of the flashback structure, which is that Matt Damon on a beach with Charlize Theron, and this is kind of where the movie, I guess, starts. Technically, everything is a flashback from this, which is happening
it starts
concurrently
in multiple
with the
places because
stuff.
of the nested narrative. Sort of multiple framing devices that Nolan loves. And which is, it's not just him, even something like Dunkirk, where it's oh, you are bringing your own temporal strata peccadillos to this material that does not really call for that in any particular way. Mm-hmm. The nested framing structures are in the original poem here.
Yes. I mean, he futzes with it a little bit, but I wouldn't have even necessarily thought of this structure as odd or notable from anyone else. It seems like the way to tell this story to me, at least as a one sitting viewing kind of thing. It's structured incredibly well to reinforce the themes and keep things moving at a good clip and not feel episodic in the way that it could very easily do, given how episodic it is by nature. There we have this massive through line going on in Ithaca, and also with Charlize Theron. I mean, those scenes aren't, too elaborate or anything, but there is a progression to them, certainly. They're great.
And they also, all the stuff with Calypso and the lotus flowers, that echoes throughout Nolan's filmography. Not just, we got the nested flashbacks and that sort of slowly revealing more about the totemic insert shot that you come back to repeatedly throughout the movie, but also just amnesia he's dealt with before in Memento. Everybody the lotus flowers and being like choosing the lie or choosing to forget. That's stuff that is from Memento and Inception, and The Dark Knight even. That's always been one of his great preoccupations.
It's a combination of two different things from the Odyssey too. The Lotus Eaters and Calypso are different, little episodes that he goes on, and putting them together, kind of brilliant, kind of perfect, kind of makes sense of that whole Calypso thing in a way that again, like the hidden twist about Zeus's law. It informs the Calypso stuff so much more. Like that makes so much more sense now that he just hangs out for 7 years on a beach. Well, with Charlize Theron and, dressed in a fishnet, essentially. I mean, you don't need too much explanation, but
yes, the character stuff there was well. It's also just a good bit of adaptation. Take the 2 episodes that like are really lacking in action for this summer blockbuster version and mush them together and make them into more of a framing device than an extended interlude that kills the movie dead for a stretch is also a good choice. I mean, it's also not the only place in this movie like where Nolan's preoccupation with lies told for the greater good comes up, which, is a central thing of The Dark Knight. And it's there in Interstellar and
Inception.
I guess it's not really for the greater good in Memento, but in Inception. But that is also nested in here where we got, he's lying to his family about when he comes home about who he is, trying to be a beggar. He has to tell his men to steer into the whirlpool as sort of a double bluff because he knows they won't believe him. But for the greater good, he has to tell them the wrong thing. And then, of course, with the Elliot Page Sinon character, that he has to lie
sacrifice him essentially
to him, and essentially offer him up. I mean, it's kind of like up in the. I mean, they make that he makes the comment to him about how if they don't let me live, then give this to my father or whatever, return this, yada yada. So they're both aware that it's possible that the Trojans will kill Sinon, but it's not guaranteed. But he still has to deceive him to sell the entire fiction of the horse. And that becomes obviously the crux of one of his great sins. But it's also, it's not just that the sin is not that he lied to Sinon to get Sinon on board. It's that it worked.
Well, there is a level of like, what are you comfortable doing, to do this and for what? I guess you could argue the sacking Troy saved lives in the long term is something you could conceivably think about just as a general on the ground. But ultimately,
not the way it's presented in this movie. The Trojan War is presented as a war of choice in this adaptation. Exactly.
And that's interesting and accidental, really. Like this movie's like done before Iran gets going.
Yeah,
that's fun, isn't it? That's a great coincidence. Regardless,
is it coincidence or is it just that if you are kind of a really good artist, the themes that you're working with will recur in the real world?
It's a Starship Troopers thing. It's very much like, you just happened to make a movie about 9/11 4 years before 9/11. Yeah. I mean, he just understands how fascism works, I suppose.
Is Penelope the Nolan hero of this movie?
No, Odysseus.
In that, well, just in that she's the one. He does not have a dead wife that he's chasing. She sort of has a dead husband that she is. Not exactly chasing. She has to stay sort of stationary.
Well, the dead husband has considerably more screen time and isn't dead, so.
There you go.
I don't think he's ready. I don't think he's quite ready for a female protagonist.
Oh no, I just thought it was fun. If I do inverse, we got a version of dead husband as a motivator.
Sure.
As opposed to a dead wife here.
I mean, there is certainly it's he can't have a dead wife because of the source material, I guess.
No.
But I don't know. There's similar things at play. I feel like, you know.
Well, he is haunted by a dead woman. I mean,
Yeah, I suppose
there's still that.
Zendaya might be the spiritual wife, such as it is.
Is she representative of his failings as a man? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, there you are. Let's see. Okay, let's just keep going through this here. We're getting into it now. The Cyclops scene, man. That comes pretty early on here. You know.
Yeah.
This is as I was saying. Holy shit! What a scene. I mean, most films this would be the high point. I don't know if it is here. There's a lot of good stuff, but as far as a set piece goes, I couldn't ask for more, man. This is gorgeous. It's scary. It's really, really effective filmmaking, top to bottom. The noise that thing makes is bone chilling. I found out after the fact Bill Irwin plays the Cyclops. That's cool as fuck. A lot of it was done practically too. I don't know how, but you can see the giant model of the Cyclops that they made in the cave. It's pretty impressive. This is great filmmaking. Everything I wanted out of an Odyssey adaptation.
It is great, and if they have not created a circus award at the Oscars yet for like mocap performances, they should.
Not a bad idea. Yeah.
Create that just to give to Bill Urban this year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like there won't be people to nominate in years going forward either.
No.
This is, it's a wonderful set piece. Also, I would say maybe fourth place in my ranking of big set pieces in this movie.
Understandable. Yeah. But
maybe fifth.
There's only one stinker, I think. And it's not even that bad. It's just definitely the worst one.
What's the bad one? Let me think. Not Calypso. Well,
Scylla.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm. He bows to the CGI for one moment there, and I think it's the weak point part of the film. It's still okay. It's still okay.
I was just thinking, so the sacking of Troy, the trip to Hades, the giants,
Circe,
and Cersei. I think I'm like, actually, all those are better than Cyclops, which is still like a great set piece. So, I mean, it's great. I think they get better as they go. That's
cool.
That's an amazing thing. Again, another tremendous active adaptation. If you are working with episodic material, that is something that's also hard to keep an eye on, because obviously you want every one of those episodes to be as good as they possibly can, but you also need them to, kind of accidentally fall into an order where they're getting where no one is worse than the one that came before it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the ideal, and only, like I said, the Scylla and Charybdis might be the only one that fumbles that ball.
Yeah, well, it's one, and it's not bad. It's just the worst technically. It's The Wire season 5 of the set pieces here. The Giants though, that comes shortly after, and that is fucking amazing. That is just spectacular.
It is. I thought this might have been a misstep because the Cyclops is a giant too. So we kind of go from one. They get fucked up by one giant and then get fucked up by so many giants. But just the way that they look and are framed, it's so much better. I love how practical all that is, where apparently most of it is just that they got a bunch of 7 foot tall muscle man stuntmen and then a bunch of 5 foot tall well muscled stunt women to be the Odysseus' crew.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't know that.
That does most of the job of just where you would use so much CGI and shit in most cases. That did most of the heavy lifting, apparently.
I love that the way that scene starts, where they come across what they think is a man lost in the woods, and it's just it's a man-sized child.
Yes.
Who starts cackling weirdly at them, and then the guys come over the hill. That's great, and that just goes bad so fast. And for so long, it's just they're immediately getting wrecked by these dudes, and they're just like, get the fuck out of and kind of go back, and they get one of the boats even. It's so good. Just wade out and rip the thing apart, essentially, with their bare hands. That was, yeah. I mean, at this point in the movie, we had the Cyclops already. I'm just like, oh shit, it's cooking, man. We got it. This one's happening. At this point, the movie is announced. It's kicking ass. We're having a great film here, and maybe an all-time great film. And then the Circe scenes happens right after, which is like fucking Brian Yuzna's Society. It's so messed up and gross and horrific and fun and just even weirder and nastier than I would have expected. Like to get that physical and practical effects with it.
Body horror is great, but I feel like it gets just as much mileage out of just like having these guys shoveling pork tripe or something into their mouths, which is not even an effect. It's just like, here's something gross. Have it dangling out of your mouth.
Yeah, it looks like a giant snot ribbon, kind of. Yeah. And it doesn't seem to be leaving, and it's just, yeah. Uh-huh. No. And the scene with Brad, with Samantha Morton right after is excellent, too. Her and Matt Damon. The way that scene is written and performed is fantastic. This character, I mean, they're talking supporting actress for Samantha Morton for this role. I don't know if that's going to happen, but when you come about like one scene Marvels, man, this is right up there.
I can see it happening because Nolan is an Academy darling, and I think Samantha Morton is very highly respected amongst her peers.
That's true. I think they'd probably take Hathaway first, but because she's also great in this, and has a much larger role. But yeah, I guess you're right. It could happen. I mean, this thing could run the table at the Oscars. I mean, I think it's probably in the conversation for just about every award right now. I guess it's not a Best Actress nominee, I guess. Everything else, though.
I mean, they could run Hathaway, and she's a big enough star and has Academy credibility that she might. I don't think she'd win.
Sneak it in, yeah.
Could get a nomination.
Sure.
I think it'd be funny if she did win and sent Liv Tyler up to accept the award to see if anybody noticed. I kept thinking that she looked exactly like Liv Tyler from the Lord of the Rings movies in this film. Anyway,
yes, that's true. I mean, it's except she's like 45 years old. It's pretty. She's aged incredibly well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's.
I think they both have, probably.
Probably. I don't know. You don't really see Liv Tyler anymore. I'm sure she looks fine, but
not in the last 10 years. No.
Yeah.
So we also at this point have gotten a lot of stuff back there with the suitors and Tom Holland's Telemachus and John Leguizamo's Shepard. He's going off to visit. Oh, he's going off to visit John Bernthal, which we should talk about.
He's really fun in this.
Yeah.
He's the most modern performer in the film, I think.
Yes. He is not someone... I mean, but I kind of say this about Matt Damon, too. I don't know that either of them fit very comfortably into a proper period piece, which is what...
Well, I mean, Damon, though, I think he kind of makes this into something that totally sells for me. Like, I wouldn't say Bernthal doesn't, I guess. Bernthal's... I think he's fucking great in this movie, honestly. But... Damon is transcendent. We'll get to Damon at some point here. I think this is the best work of his career, though.
I think they are. These guys, those two are the key. Well, and Tom Holland, actually, of making it bring the modern feel to the material. Yeah, in a way that's successful.
That's why that's the genius of Matt Damon casting. I think, is it achieves what he's after there.
I think it's also with the Odysseus character. There's something about that where Odysseus always struck me as sort of a man ahead of his time anyway. That's the crux of his character, is that he is sort of the ancient Greeks, but also a little outside of them, and sees things from a slightly more modern perspective. And that is the source of a lot of his, successful cons and such.
I mean, that characterization is accurate for even for Troy. I think that is endemic to the character as he appears in the Odyssey, for certain. And that's what makes him such a good choice for this twist. This modern approach to it is well informed by making about Odysseus.
Even if you were trying, I'm saying, to make Elon Musk happier or whatever, and do a more classical version of this, I think the Odysseus character is one where somebody like Damon with a more modern affect, you could get away with even just having Odysseus casting feel a little more modern than the rest of the movie. Obviously, this is trying to do something more across the board.
Who would be the period appropriate Odysseus? Like, if you were trying to be it's very hard to imagine anyone but Matt Damon in the role now, which is surprising. I thought he was going to be miscast when basically throughout the build up to this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Christian Bale was a lot of people's first thought, and I think actually
that makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
He could pull off. It's somebody British. I mean, that's what it comes down to. I think, maybe you could sell me Matthew Reeves or something. But in any case,
now Bale's the one. You're right. That'd be the classic casting for this, I would think. I'm glad they went.
But Bernthal, I think, is great the way that his affect clashes. Even that is because the characterization of Menelaus as somebody who is a good fighter, who is ill at ease in his own home and in his own marriage.
Yeah, that's
having Bernthal be somebody who's doesn't slot very comfortably into a period setting actually fits that in a weird tonal way just fine.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's got all these actors that don't. I mean, I don't know. I don't think Benny Safdie counts because you don't unless you know exactly who Benny Safdie is. You're not really clanging on that performance in any way, I would say.
And you're never even really seeing his face.
His fucking face, yeah.
Yeah.
But there are, Elliot Page. There are, modern feeling actors all over this thing, and I think it's a gambit, and it's going to work or it's not. I think it absolutely works, and since it's working, which you probably wouldn't even know till the edit, really, having people like Bernthal pop up and just being like them, the most Italian dude imaginable there, like that really sells it for me. And obviously Italy is Mediterranean as well, but it's his New York vibe in those scenes is I don't know. It actually seemed wrong in the trailer and right in the film.
Right. That is sort of what I would have thought about Elliot Page too. That I was like, there's not trying to, be anti-trans in any way or whatever, but I would just guess that you can't. There's no way to put a trans actor in a way that doesn't feel modern in their whole bearing and sensibility and all that. And yet, actually, I think he did a really good job just playing a young, scrawny kid, and that doesn't quite fit into the army very well, but that's the key to the character also. And with Bernthal, just that New Yorkness of him, how his whole vibe being like, yeah, we're not going to bullshit you. I'm not going to bullshit you with a Greek accent here, kid. I'm not going to bullshit you about who your dad was.
We're not talking about my brother.
Oh, and my wife. It's,
you see, huh? Face of that launch 1,000 ship. Take a look at this. Check this out. It's
what I found out of that.
Yeah, I love that stuff though. He's wonderful in this film, and he's not an actor I always like either. Like he's like half and half for me, and this one is a good one. So yeah,
I don't know when I've ever disliked him. He's always been welcome in everything I've seen him in. That stuff's interspersed. Telemachus going to see them, and then where are we on to next? We went past Cersei. Now we're on to
Land of the Dead. Yeah. No, Land of the Dead.
Oh, yeah, Land of the Dead comes before that. You're right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which is so well realized.
We've already gushed about this.
Yeah. Apparently a beach in Iceland with black sand. It's such a great evocation of Greek underworld and not flashy or anything. Like, there'd be so many ways to do like a Dante version of that. That's so not what Nolan would do, though. It's this simple thing that is evocative. The performances there are great. Elliot Page and Benny Safdie and James Remar killing it here. It's just a gorgeous sequence. I really like everything about it. Yeah, we've gushed already. It's great. Mm-hmm.
I mean, at this point, I guess we're deep enough in the movie that we know that this is not no one's approach to this. But you could have seen an approach to this where it is more like, Odysseus eats some sort of different type of lotus flower, or does some kind of drugs, and it's presented in a naturalistic enough way that this could all just be a drug trip. But this is like, no, this is a genuinely supernatural event and all that, but it's not overwrought in the way of Dante's Inferno or whatever it is. Still kind of sparse, but not in a way that feels like it's cheating on budget or on trying to play up some A24, or maybe it's all in their head type of interpretations.
Yeah, and I'm really pleased he did not go for that. I mean, I guess you could say the Athena thing is maybe a version of that, but it's so effective and to a point, and you already have Cyclopses, and, we're doing monsters here. We're doing the supernatural. It is extant, and it is not a thing that we're shying away from. And once we've established that, we can still kind of fuck with the levels a little. We can still make this, a minimalist approach to the thing, and because of
it's not exactly minimalist, and it's not exactly maximalist. It's just it's Goldilocks. I don't know, man. It's fucking great.
Yeah, and he plays with that throughout. I mean, yeah, like we said, I think the one place it doesn't quite work is Scylla and Charybdis. I think that there were a bit more grandeur for that wouldn't have hurt. It's I mean, he has talked about wanting to make the inspiration for these initially was Harryhausen films, Jason and the Argonauts, Sinbad movies, and seeing like how you could do something that worked in that way in the modern day. I would have enjoyed a little bit more Harryhausen in this scene, a little bit more kind of monstery stuff. The whirlpool is as well, that kind of just looks like they clipped art a water whirlpool into an ocean there.
It did seem like one of my a nitpick they have. I'm like, what? Why couldn't that whirlpool have been 3 times wider?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it's ever. And I'm looking at it going, you guys are really upset about this, but why don't you just like take a slight loop around the other side of it?
Yeah, it didn't seem like a real
like half an hour to
threat
to do the long way.
Yeah. And I think that is just sort of it doesn't work great. And the Scylla looks pretty CGI-ish design-wise. I think it's interesting that it's not, traditional serpents and stuff like that. It's just sort of these weird modeled fingers. That's kind of cool. But it also feels like we just kind of want to get through this scene here, and that's too bad. That could have been, another 5-star excellent set piece. And, it's not, but we're moving on to the next thing pretty quick. And it's not like awful or anything. So, if I have to ding one, it's that one.
Yeah. Do we hit an upper limit on how many set pieces we can have of Odysseus's crew just getting wrecked by monsters?
Well, this is the last one, really.
Right.
There's more stuff with them, obviously. The herds of Apollo, that's how their story ends. They just sort of drift off, presumably dying in a naval battle, and that's all fine, and all that stuff works, but it's not a set piece, really. It's kind of just the plot moving forward. So I would not have begrudged them one big monster set piece there in the end. Adds another 7 minutes to the film. I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I'm not gnashing my teeth in rage over it or anything, but
no, it's a very minor points. I got a little more Scylla. I would have liked a bit more of a death scene for Hamish Patel.
Yeah, he should have been one to go in the Scylla scene.
Yeah,
I kind of wanted to see that character have a resolution beyond just the rest of the crew, because as it is, he's sort of just like the face of the rest of the crew. We don't really get too into the characters on the boat there in the way that we could have, which is fine and almost necessary considering what happens to them. Like that is always the thing about the Odyssey is like, all his people die. Right. They all get killed, and because he's, the great man of history, he doesn't, but the rest of them are not as important and they die. No getting around that.
Yeah, it's also a thing that when you're trying to do a sort of serious-minded take on the Odyssey, one of the things, it being a collection of episodes that are all stitched together from kind of different tellings and different sources, when you try and put them all together in one thing, it becomes a thing of, well, his entire crew has been eaten by monsters like 4 times now. So how big was this crew to start with? And, so yeah, I mean, it helps to start with 3 boats. It'll boil down to 3. But for as much screen time as they gave him, even if he just, being eaten by Scylla would be one thing. That could be a good monster death, I suppose. But even if you're just gonna drown him in a storm in the next scene, like, I don't know, at least give it, the perfect storm type of dramatic drowning presentation.
A resolution to that specific character would have been nice, and it's because, in large part, because Hamish Patel makes such an impression without too much material.
I love that guy. I think he always makes an impression on me, and
he good.
I think he does really good here.
Mm-hmm. So then, then it's Calypso, wrecked, hanging out with Charlize Theron for years. And basically, we're into the third act in the end game now, and all this stuff. Of course, this is all the chickens coming home to roost, all the things that he set up along the way, paying off. The handing of the give Antonius back his shame material comes in here. I love all that. It gives Pattinson a lot of stuff to snivel about, and that's fun. I love that he gives back as the beggar. He gives back the thing before the end. So he's kind of got this ghost haunting him for the last half hour of the movie. I think that's really good stuff.
It's also just, great screenwriting, little tidbits, twanging the bow as his fucking badass action movie beat is great. But also the scene that sets that up early in the film also shows that by doing that, he gets gored by a boar and he gets a stitch on his ankle that the servant then recognizes him by that, which adds to that later scene too, and it sets up some stuff with Leguizamo. It's doing multiple things at once without telegraphing them too heavily is
it's so
it would be worth a more heavy-handed telegraphing just to set up the final bow twang when he sets off the massacre, but.
Yeah, but even then, the twang of the bow is character building. It shows why this thing that the sacking of Troy with the horse affected him so much is because it is against his nature to have achieved that. Like
it shows that he did know better.
Yeah, yeah, it's great. It's so good. I don't know, man. I usually don't get this effusive and happy about a movie, but I can't tell you. I'm just so pleased with this. This was so much fun.
Certainly not one that's been built up this much. Like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
I've usually come. It seems like, of course it couldn't live up to that much hype. But I don't know. Maybe I was just so successful at avoiding all the pre-release hype that I kept things low enough coming in, but man, I was impressed with this. Because, we're in the final scenes here. I think this is where maybe to dig in on all the Zeus's Law stuff. And that is such a brilliant stroke of adaptation. The simplicity of boiling it down to the golden rule, that the way that incorporates ancient Greek religiosity of this setting, also sort of modernizing it into a form that like filters their pagan faith into something more resonant with modern monotheistic forms of faith that we're more familiar with, with Christianity or other Abrahamic religions. But also it kind of at the same time functions to secularize it. And that you don't have to have faith in a deity to accept, just don't be a fucking dick to people as the ultimate moral law. And sets up the entire thematic fulcrum of the film, which and of this as an adaptation, which is making the Trojan horse into the ultimate war crime.
Yeah,
because it is violating. It is violating hospitality. I mean, that's if there is a through line that you get through the Odyssey and all of its sort of patchwork glory, it is that it's very much about hospitality and guest rights.
The Odysseus and the crew, everywhere they go, they're shitty house guests to everybody.
And are punished for it.
Yeah, every single one. The time they meet somebody, they're just like, let's fuck this up. Like the Cyclops especially. Seriously, it's over and over.
And then he comes home and fucks everybody up for being shitty house guests in his house. Mm-hmm. But I think that's what's so great about Nolan's take on this is that he recognizes, well, what's the Trojan horse if it's not punishing the Trojans for extending hospitality and reverence for the respect for the gods.
Yeah, our norms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I read it as. Honestly, I was like, the Trojan horse is January 6th in this case, but it could really be anything. It could be it could be AI. It could be any modern ill, anything that is that has ruined us in the 21st century. we used to live in a world of palaces, and now we fucked it up. That's what's going on, man. And that is impossible not to kind of feel viscerally right now in 2026. Like the world is on the wrong path because of our actions. We earned it.
Yeah. Well, and I've also been, pretty immersed in House of the Dragon of late.
Sure.
Because I'm obsessed with that as another active adaptation that's also sort of set in a version of a mythical antiquity, but also very concerned with concepts of guest rights. And
certainly Game of Thrones was too, yeah.
And that feels very resonant in 2026, where so much of worldwide politics is based on treating immigrants like shit and trying to performatively even brutalize people who are travelers and beggars or,
it's nuts.
Don't have a home of their own to go to.
It's so crazy that they stumbled upon this.
Yeah. I mean, stumbling even doesn't give Nolan enough credit. I think
you're right.
These things
this was in the air already. Yeah.
But that's what's, for, like I said, all the effort into making this feel genuinely antiquated and sticking to the events of the text. It also, it's like, no, but this is a story. Here's why the story matters to our present day. Even we don't have to believe in Athena or Poseidon for some of these issues to still affect us.
Honestly, the last thing I expected to have a modern resonance. Yeah. I would have been happy without it, frankly. I mean, and I don't mean that pejoratively. I mean, the movie was already working.
Satisfied.
Yeah. And then to bring it into this thing where it's like, oh my God, it's about us today in a real and visceral way. I'm just like, oh, wow, slam dunk.
Well, it's, I forget what movie was talking about, but I think you recited to me one time about Guillermo del Toro saying about something. It's so great to see a movie and a film at the same time. And it's always so great to have been so satisfied with this as a movie, and then in the final act to be like, oh, and I get to feel good about it because it's a film too. It's like I already got to eat my dessert and I found out, what do you mean? That dessert was made of spinach? I got nutrients here. That's great.
And it's also like, well, this is possible. You can do this. You can make things that are high art and low art at the same time, a movie and a film. And it can be great. If you do it both, it'll probably be great. If you can successfully do both those things, I mean, obviously easier said than done, but I don't know, man, that might be the simplest way to reduce, a truly great film. To just a couple words is it's a movie and a film at the same time. And yeah, none more so than this one. Damn.
This is, in terms of putting this in the Nolan-Oscopy.
Yeah.
What came into focus for me here is how I think Nolan's filmography, I now can kind of bifurcate it in a way that I hadn't seen before. So he always focuses movies on these haunted men, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like there's over time been a shift in sort of what they're haunted by. So the first half of his career, that's the dead wife era, or parents in Batman's case. But that's Memento, Prestige, Inception, all the Batmans. Those are movies about a guy taking extreme action to try and put right or justify this terrible loss in their past. And I think with Interstellar, it kind of turned. But the Interstellar, Tenet, Oppenheimer, now the Odyssey, the focus of the haunting kind of shifts from the past to the future. And they're all about these men grappling with reality that they've broken the world. And they're leaving future generations to sort through the wreckage.
Yeah.
And that is really interesting to me.
Yeah, it does feel like a different era of him. And also, I would say the most interesting at this point. I think the 1-2 punch of Oppenheimer and Odyssey has now convinced me that this is a guy at the absolute peak of his powers. He's better now than he ever has been, I think. I mean, we talked about this when we did the series. This is not one of my guys. I really like The Dark Knight. I think that's a terrific film. He's made other movies I enjoy quite a bit. He's never really been one of my guys. He's becoming one of my guys now. This is is the most exciting period of his career, and I think The Odyssey is quite possibly his best film. I mean, it's top 3, no question about that for me. It's right up there, man. I have an enormous amount of respect for The Dark Knight. I think it tends to get I don't know. I think people tend to brush it aside a little bit now, as I've heard people saying the Pattinson Batman is the better film, and I'm just like, no, that's still the best superhero movie ever made. It's We've had 55 million of these things at this point, and I think the one that kind of cuts to the heart of the matter most, directly and also most broadly remains The Dark Knight. It is about what superhero movies are and what they open and sort of engage us with. That is hard to beat, but if any film he's made can do it, it's The Odyssey.
And still kind of best and arguably only successful iteration of the, we're going to do a superhero movie for grown-ups type of thing.
Kind of. To this day, yes, kind of.
But, yeah, I think I put The Odyssey just behind The Dark Knight in my rankings at this point. Maybe there's a bit of recency bias there, but man...
Maybe.
I think ultimately The Dark Knight is contemporary American mythology.
Yeah.
And I am more of a contemporary American than I am an ancient Greek. So I think there's something about that and the Ledger performance is just so singular that I still got to give that the top spot, even though it wins me no points for either originality or, cineast.
Oh, no, I think that's now the iconoclast position, is that The Dark Knight remains the best one.
Okay. Well, that's what I'm sticking with.
But no. I mean, he's what's next, man? This is a guy on an absolute heater. This is incredible. I think he has to scale down at this point. There's no real getting larger than The Odyssey.
Yeah. I mean, you would have to do a Lord of the Rings trilogy or a Dune trilogy.
And
that's the only way to
for
go
that
bigger
right now.
from here.
Yeah,
and no, he's already done a trilogy. I don't know that he liked it that much by the end. I think he prefers to do. Well, I mean, he's really fucking good at it. But yeah, I think going down. I think we probably talked about this years ago with Nolan, but I would love to see him do a full blown paranoid thriller.
Yeah, he'd probably do a great job of that. I'm hoping for horror film. Straight up horror movie. I want his version of The Shining, not literally, but he's at that point in his carear, that Kubrick moment.
Kind of blend the edges of that. You do something like a Body Snatchers type of
thing. I've said it before. I think I want him to try The Jaunt, the Stephen King story, The Jaunt. That would be, frankly, probably too horrifying, but for the kind of audience he's going to demand. But something along those lines, absolutely. Something that'll really fuck with people. That would be my preference. Something scary, because man, he dips his toe in it in this film. There's some very scary scenes in The Odyssey, and they're great.
Well, one thing I forgot to ask you about the very end of this movie.
Yeah.
Do you feel like Odysseus should have just died in the final fracas?
No, I was happy when he survived. I was pleased. Yeah.
Fucked off to Europe with Anne Hathaway, a la Batman.
Yeah, just like Batman. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that's kind of great. I mean, I thought it was just going to be, if he dies, that's sort of a perfect capper. Because it's important. I mean, the idea that we have broken the world and it will be up to the next generation to deal with that is really resonant now, especially if you're a dad in 2026. But it also be for Odysseus to come and kill all the guys that were too much for the sun to handle and then retake his throne and live happily ever after. That would be too much of a boomer fantasy. That's Liam Neeson's Odyssey.
I mean, it is how the Odyssey ends, I believe.
It is. Yeah. But that's why I think that's an important, again, choice of adaptation he made there. Where even if it's a little fuzzy for me what exactly he and Anne Hathaway think they're doing by sailing off into the sunset.
Well, they have to observe the dead soldiers. They have to do that first, of course. That's important. And then, the shades told him to do that. So beyond that, that is his fate. Ultimately, he's got to go do that. And then I think he has earned a measure of peace, to after all his travails. Although 7 years of them were having sex with Charlize Theron on a beach.
Doing drugs and banging Charlize, yeah. His midlife crisis is not the worst I've ever seen. But no, I think it's important though, like maybe he's earned some peace and that's fine, but I think it's also for this to be thematically resonant with our present moment. I do think it's important that a gerontocracy, reinstating a gerontocracy is not going to save us. That's not the final solution to having broken the world.
It is the next generation story to pick up, to actually fix this and make this place a world of palaces once again, even if that's not going to happen. What actually happens is sort of a dark age for a little while. The sea people did kind of wipe out civilization for a few centuries there.
Yes. But, if you get enough perspective on it, well, yes, civilization will rise again. I guess that's nice to think of. Anyway. Whew. Great movie.
Yes, a terrific film. The best of the year so far for me. Sure to remain at the top of my list for a very long time. We should be so lucky as to get films like this. One a year would be a gift. Frankly, this is great, and I've never been more hyped on Chris Nolan than I am right now. So that's pretty impressive.
Going to be really difficult to top this one this year.
Yeah,
I loved Backrooms. I was really kind of blown away by that.
That's a great movie too, man. I really like Backrooms.
Operating on such a completely different scale though. Like this, this is the thing. It's an experience. It's a cinematic experience that could only be done in this big giant format. That I thought like this would not have the same power at home.
And I think you need an artist that is as good and as hugely successful as Nolan to do this. Yeah. You could say the same about Disclosure Day, except this one worked, I guess, that's two kind of films that wouldn't exist without the auteur behind them this summer, they're and I'd rather those than, I don't know, more Masters of the Universe and such, but is not an awful film, by the way, but obviously this is the sort of thing that is nicer. And I do feel like we might be kind of heading in this direction now as superheroes kind of wither and die. Maybe we'll get more stuff like this, more attempts anyway, at changing shit up again, because there's not a dominant genre right now. You can't just make a Supergirl and have it succeed. You have to, kind of go above and beyond with superheroes, and the more you make, the harder that is to do. So,
well, we'll see, because in like 2 weeks, we're going to be back here talking about Spider-Man 4.
You're right.
See if Tom Holland could both participate in knocking down these doors and then drag the entire industry back into superhero shit.
Yep, indeed. All right, we'll talk about that soon enough. All right, thank you for listening. And that is it for the Nolan-Oscopy for now. Probably going to be, 4 or 5 years before he makes another one at this, man. This. I would take a break after this.
Yeah. Oh, hey, I forgot to mention something. We have a message board now attached to our website. If you go to forum.frameworkcast.com, it is an exacting recreation of the message board that we met on from back 20 years ago and became friends on. And that was shutting down. So I just basically photocopied it over onto our website. And now people are going to talk about movies then.
Yeah. So, join us, if you will.
Go to frameworkcast.com and check it out.
All right. And have a nice summer and a good day.